Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have with me a very special guest, Mr. Garin. He is the country head of École Intuit Lab in Mumbai. Jan, welcome to the channel. Can we have a small introduction about yourself?
Yes, so hello everyone. So my name is Jan. As you can hear with my accent, I'm from French origin, but living in India for quite a long time now.
Yeah.
Let's say years.
Yeah.
And indeed, I supervise the École Intuit Lab, which is a French school of design here in India.
So, Jan, can you walk us through a little bit of your history? You know, how you grew up in France and now you're in Mumbai, in India. How has been the experience like? You know, what has been the cultural shocks that you experienced, and you know, what drew you to establish École Intuit Lab in Mumbai?
Yeah, so I don't like the word cultural shock because it's quite negative. But yeah, there was a huge difference, obviously, between Europe and India. But for me, it's more like a positive difference. What I discovered here a long time ago, I fell in love with it. And that's why I decided to come and live in India.
Yeah.
There are obviously, like in any country in the world, good things and bad things. But globally, I think in India, you can really have a very nice experience if you are ready to open your mind and accept what is different from your native country.
Yeah, and you've also picked up quite a bit of Hindi as well, which is very cute to listen to. So,
Thanks.
what are some of your favorite Hindi words?
I keep telling people, "Ghar ki murgi dal barabar."
Yeah. So, Jan, can you talk a little bit about how was École Intuit Lab established in Mumbai?
So after the success of École Intuit Lab in France, the founder Clément de Roc, who has Indian origins, was looking for a place abroad outside France to open a new campus. And for him, India became quite of evidence because there was no such a school here at that time. But he could see that the market was exploding and there would be a need of designers very soon. So this is how he started in 2010, opening the first campus abroad here in Mumbai.
Wow.
1 year later, I've been asked to teach, so I started teaching motion graphics and 3D.
Yeah.
And slowly I took over the operations. I was asked to synchronize the operations in France and in India. We wanted to be sure that the level would be the same, you know, that was very important.
Yeah.
So I observed their methodology, I translated a lot of the curriculum, etc., and I implemented it here in India.
Fantastic. And what are some of the offerings of École Intuit Lab? If someone is an aspiring student, what is École Intuit Lab, and what are the various different, we've got gaming courses over here, we've got some visual communication courses. So can you walk through all of them a bit?
Yeah, so originally, École Intuit Lab is a school of design generally. It's not really specialized, but yes, here in India, we developed several specializations.
Yeah.
So originally, we have visual communication, what people understand as graphic design, to make it short.
Yeah.
Then we introduce game art and game design, with in collaboration with Ubisoft.
Mm-hmm.
And later on, we introduce digital product design. It's a bit a complex term for UI UX that everybody knows.
Yeah.
And the last program that we started is motion design and animation.
Oh, wow. And what is unique about all of these aspects? Like, I've personally known École for the longest time, and one of the most unique aspects about École Intuit Lab is its way of teaching, which is you believe more in the offline approach than the online approach, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen it work wonders in École Intuit Lab because we see students coming over here, they interact with each other, they interact with the teachers, and then they become friends with the teachers themselves as well, right? So what is that one hook that keeps you believing and continuing to believe in this ideology that offline works better than online?
Yeah, that's something that I keep telling the students, when they come and see me and say, okay, which software are you using? And I always tell them the same thing. I say, if you really want to learn a software, don't come to this school. Go online, go on YouTube. You have millions of tutorials for free excellent quality.
Yeah.
If your goal is just to learn the software, go there.
Yeah.
What we cannot do with YouTube or online is the design, the pure design aspect. That means problem solving,
Yeah.
creative solution to any problem, art direction, storytelling.
Yeah.
All these aspects are very, very difficult because it's, even the body language,
Yeah.
the tone you use, etc. The one-by-one relationship that you have with the faculty is very difficult to do that online. So for all these aspects, and that's the most important part of École Intuit Lab, it's important that the students come in class and have this very particular interaction
Yeah.
with the mentors.
Yeah. And École Intuit Lab also has multiple branches, not just in Mumbai, but it also has a branch in Calcutta, in Delhi, also outside of India.
Yeah.
So how does this organization work in sync with each other, having multiple branches? And I'm sure it must have been a nightmare designing the curriculum to be consistent across all of these global branches. So what was that experience like?
There are very many challenges.
Yeah.
Even within India, for example, the culture in Bangalore is very different than the culture in Delhi.
Yeah.
The approach, what people want, the way they want to learn, where they want to learn, etc., is very, very different.
Yeah.
But we have one philosophy that is all over the world. It is really to train students by active professionals, not people who learned design 20 years ago, but
Yeah.
active professionals who share what they do
Yeah.
in their company, in their agency, as a freelancer, etc., with their client.
Yeah.
They share that in class, and that we do that for every programs in every campus.
Yeah.
So these challenges we manage to solve them, but there are also advantages of
Yeah.
having multicultural campuses. For example, we just had a project with electronic art
Yeah.
that involved 6 campuses all over the world, in Brazil, in France, in India,
Yeah.
and the students had to collaborate remotely.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had a blast doing that. They loved it. It was super interesting. They learned so much. It opened their mind to other cultures. Everybody had to bring something to the project. It was beautiful.
Yeah. And speaking about this global fusion of talent that you have at École Intuit Lab, there are also these frequent trips that you organize with students to visit France or other countries.
True.
So what was that experience like, and why do you think that is required in today's age and time for students to interact with the global students?
It's simple. India is not isolated anymore.
Right.
It's now a global country, and you can read the news anywhere in any country in the world. They talk about India now. That's very new. Whether it's economics, politics, social, whatever, India is always present in any discussion.
Yeah.
And obviously for design it's important because India also had to open its own perspective about the world and become global. So our students need to understand these global standards, international standards, because when they work for any brand, they have to think that the audience might be Korean, might be South American or African. They don't know that. Okay?
Right.
So they need to be ready for that. Traveling is the first step. Working with mentors from Germany or from Canada, like we had previously. Working in groups with students from different countries. When they go to France, they sit with French students and they work together on the same projects.
Yeah.
So it completely open their mind to this global standard, this other way of thinking that is give a lot of value
Yeah.
to the project. And obviously they bring also their own
Right.
value to the project.
Right. And does this also happen the other way around? Do you also have faculty coming into the campus that are outside from India and they bring their own expertise? Does that
Yes,
happen?
we have it's almost an institution every year. We have 1 week dedicated to international workshops.
Okay.
It became a kind of festival now because it's not only workshops mentored by foreigners. We have a potluck day that day, we have a traditional day, students dance. It's there are parties, there is a lot. This week is very, very intense. There's so much happening. And again, it's not the mentors coming from abroad to teach, it's coming to exchange point of view, values, methodology, etc., etc. And this is why this week is so rich.
It's very beautiful. And in recent times, there has been a huge disruption in the art field. Not just art field, I mean across everything because of AI.
Yeah.
So I just want to understand from a perspective of advancements in technologies, how is École Intuit Lab shaping themselves to kind of, like right now the traditional way of making things has completely changed. We've seen like VO3 make almost realistic videos. So what is École Intuit Lab doing in that direction to help students catch up with the pace of the world that's going on right now?
Nikhil, there was no so much disruption for us. I just told you about the software, the students coming to learn the software, and I tell students that's unnecessary.
Yeah.
That's the same with the AI. Now they realize that yes, the software, it's just a tool.
Right.
Okay? What you need is the concepts, the ideas, storytelling, problem solving, etc. That AI is far, it will come one day, I'm sure, but for now it's far of doing a good job, right?
Right.
So all students are already equipped to use AI, but in a way that will only help us to focus only on these ideas. Now, detouring a character on Photoshop, they used to spend 2 hours to do that.
Yeah.
Now AI do it in one click,
One click.
and it's a good thing because it's not creative.
Yeah.
Okay, so they can free out some time really to work on concept.
Right.
And also one thing that is, I noticed with the students is the traditional way is you do something and you try another idea and you try, and most of the time they don't have that time. Okay.
Yeah.
Now with AI, they do only that. They try a prompt, and then they refine, and they refine, and they refine. Normally we should work like that, not go with the first idea, but keep refining, trying new things.
Right.
With AI, you can really do that, because you have to do that. It never works the first time, right?
Yeah.
You need to refine, and you can spend your all day on one image in AI, just doing this refinement work. And that's how you put your idea, your concept that you have in mind into something that you can share with the rest of the world.
A lot of artists are also concerned about AI taking away the soul from the art. That's also a raging debate that's happening right now. So what are your opinions on that?
I really don't believe in that. What AI does is watching a lot of art, millions of pieces, not only art, but images, etc., and compiling all of that, digesting. I put a lot of air quotation because it's algorithm, and we know it's computing. There is nothing watching or thinking or whatever. But that's the metaphor that it does. And what a human artist do? They don't create things out of nowhere.
They use references.
They keep, they are curious. They watch a lot. They learn a lot. Any artist is going to copy a lot, to train their brain, their tools, etc. Same thing, and by collecting a lot, they are going to bring their original idea, their personal things. But nothing is coming purely from neurons or whatever out of thin air. It's all inspired. So in a way, it's very similar. It's a bit more shocking with AI because it's a machine doing that. Plus, we know how it is trained. That's the only way, by feeding a lot of existing stuff. So people need to get used to that to understand better how it works. And generally, when people understand really how it works, they accept AI much better than when they think it's just magic and the computer is finding artwork somewhere and filtering it and giving it as a result. It's not like that at all.
Yeah. It's very fascinating to see how AI has taken over, and this also brings to a question that like École Intuit Lab or other education institutes nowadays, they are responsible for setting up the pipeline. Like back in the days, like Autodesk or Maya or 3ds Max and Photoshop. These are the tools that have become pipeline in the industry standards, primarily because educational institutes have set that standard.
That's right.
Now, I think a lot of these studios will also have sessions when they will come to these educational institutes to train their talent. So, do you think that has started to happen, or has École also working? Is École also working with such studios to train them?
Yes, actually we started advisory boards,
Okay.
and that was 90% of the conversation was about that. They say we started working with AI, but we don't find the right talent. The designers are not used to that yet, so we need people trained with AI, and we take this feedback and we implement it immediately, so the students are used and are ready. So it's a kind of a loop between the industry and education that is necessary.
Yeah. And speaking from a broader perspective, where do you see the education space specifically? I'm talking about India, because India as a market has only caught up to the Western market recently. People have just started to take risk on their products. People are now moving from services to making their own products. So how do you see the landscape changing in India for this part?
We are all witness of the changes, in the education. The engineer, legal, medicine was the only real criteria of education. But now people start realizing that engineers, they don't have jobs anymore, except if they start learning creative tools, for example. If they start learning in a different way and applying what they learn in a different way. Because I was talking about creative solution, this is what is required everywhere, just bringing a mathematical solution to a problem doesn't work anymore, because everything has been discovered more or less in the physical world. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's a question of bringing an experience, for example, or seeing the problem from a different lens. Okay, and that's what opens new possibilities. Okay, otherwise you are going in a funnel and get stuck there. So this way of thinking has to be applied in every possible domain. You see, for example, the fintech.
Yeah.
Which used to be very anti-creative. Now there is a lot of designers involved in the fintech because it has to be creative, and a simple thing like a cryptocurrency, for example, it's a creative invention, like people who start developing that, it has to be, it was very creative, okay?
Yeah.
And it is still very creative. If you want to start a new cryptocurrency and launch it on the market,
Yeah.
you need to have a concept,
Yeah.
a very strong concept, because you need to convince a lot of people.
Yeah.
So creativity is everywhere nowadays, and our
Yeah.
students need to be trained in that direction. Not only drawing beautiful circles and squares of color on paper.
So, from a numbers perspective, how many students has École trained so far, and can you also talk a little bit about some notable alumni that has passed out of École?
Yeah, our numbers, I have a very rough number, but here in Mumbai, I think we have something like 600 students
Over
who
the course
passed
of
out.
last
Yeah,
12 years.
Yeah. If I'm not something like that.
Yeah.
I have a colleague, Rashi, who can give you the exact number because she keeps this kind of statistics.
Yeah.
Success stories, we have so many. I don't know. I'll take the most recent one because it happened every day. We had a student who passed out last year, Dia, and she got a bronze at Cannes.
Oh.
Just after not even 1 year as an art director, she got bronze there. So for us, it's never heard. It's I love this kind of story.
Yeah. And speaking in terms of like the India and French exchange right now, what sort of training programs do you have for students who want to get into, let's say, all these different aspects?
Yeah, so we send our students for various opportunities in France or in the UK also. One thing, we have international workshop happening in France, for example. So every year we have like 25 students going for 10 days there for a workshop, and it's beautiful. They come back full of new perspective, new ideas. We send every year students for educational trip, both to south of France and Paris. Same thing, a lot to learn, to visit, etc. We send our students for exchange program. You know, they spend a full semester there in France. They sit in class for 1 semester. Their French becomes perfect, obviously, but also they learn quite. The subjects are the same, but the way, you know, the way to see the subject is very different there. So it's very interesting and enriching for them. And finally, we send also our students for internship abroad. Yeah, we have a lot of partnerships with agencies, so regularly we send them for internship. So they have a professional experience abroad, which is a lot.
One question I'm itching to ask you is related to French and Hindi, and the statement that you mentioned earlier is, can you translate "Ghar ki murgi dal barabar" in French?
Oh, that's good. Literally, it's easy. It's le poulet à la maison, devient comme des lentilles. But do we have something equivalent? I'm not sure. On s'habitue à tout, peut-être. That means you get used to anything. It's not exactly the same, but that's the closest I found.
Alright. So last but not the least, my channel's audience is primarily towards game development. They are very interested in learning more and more about game development. So can you walk us through a little bit about the course offerings about game development that you have?
Yeah, so for gaming, it's a 4-year program developed in collaboration with Ubisoft. It starts with a year of foundation where there is no computer. So students are always a bit surprised. What? We are learning gaming, but there is no computer. Yes, we train them to coordinate their eye, their brain, and their hand. You know, for 1 year they do that. So they have all their basics in place. Once they have that, they can move to the computer and use the computer as a tool. Otherwise, they come on the computer and they think it will do everything for them, and the results obviously are not working. But once they have their basics, then the computer becomes a tool and they can use it as they use a pencil. The second year is all the principles of game art and game design. So a lot of storyboarding, concept art, introduction to 3D modeling, etc., game engines also. The third year is divided in two. There is 1 semester for professional training. So they learn all the techniques that are used in studios. And the second semester, they start what we call the incubator, is they work in group on a final game. And they spend 2 semesters like that. 1 semester for pre-production, 1 semester for production and post-production. At the end, they have a real playable game. And the last semester is a long internship that they can do wherever they want. Small studios, big studios, we assist obviously and try to place them in the studios where they want to learn.
So guys, if you want to have more details, I'll leave all the links in the description. Be sure to check them out. Also, as a follow-up to this video, we will also be having a small campus tour about École Intuit Lab Mumbai. They have multiple branches across all over the world, but right now I'm in Mumbai, so I'm just going to cover Mumbai part. And with that in mind, any parting thoughts from your side again for audience?
One thing is, if you want to work in the gaming industry, I think there is only one thing that you need, is passion. If you have passion, you can reach the stars. Really, I'm not joking. That's really what it takes. Don't think, oh, I'm not very good at drawing, oh, I'm not very good at this or that. That is not important. You will learn, and if you don't learn, there are many ways to reach there. But passion, this is where, this is what it will take for you to reach any of your dreams.
So thanks a lot, Garin, for joining us for this podcast. It was a lot of fun talking
My
to
pleasure.
you and learning about Ghar ki murgi dal barabar in French as well. So guys, if you like this podcast, hit the like button and share this as much as possible in your networks, and explore what offerings École Intuit Lab has. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Until then, take care.
Bye everyone.